I'm Robert. Welcome to my channel. This is a reading of my latest book, My Nineveh, The Cross Between Psychedelics and the Church. It is available now on Amazon. If you like this work and would like to support me, please like and subscribe, and consider purchasing a copy from the link in the description below. Chapter 4, Bipolar. I was born the eldest of 4 children. My youngest brother, Thomas, Tom to friends and family, was 13 years my junior. When he was 18 years old, he started having symptoms of bipolar disorder. This disorder manifested as hallucinations, both audible and visual, headaches, and suicidal ideation, spurred on with occasional bouts of psychosis. This ended when he took his own life at 24 years of age as a last-ditch effort to escape the mental hell he was in for 6 years. When someone close to you dies, it changes your own relationship to mortality. There are other people in my life who have passed away young. I had lost my cousin about a decade prior in a car accident. We saw each other a couple of times a year, but weren't super close. There was a friend on my college soccer team who died in a boating accident sometime after my graduation. For me, life had already moved on when he had died. These deaths caused me to think, but none were as visceral and real as my own brother passing. During his time dealing with bipolar disorder, Tom complained often that his brain was broken. For scientific materialists, this is hard to quantify. If a computer is broken, one identifies the broken part and replaces it. If software is broken, one can examine the code and walk through it to find the bug. If a bone is broken, one can mechanically manipulate it into the correct position, bolt it in place, and watch it heal. But how does one fix an inner experience? What does it mean to have intrusive thoughts or to experience hallucinations? Where do our emotions come from inside us? And what can be done to promote more positive emotions and less negative ones? And why do we have such limited control over these most intimate parts of our existence? If you aren't controlling your thoughts, who is? Who is it that is experiencing these negative, uncontrollable thoughts, and why can't they stop it? Who else is in your head? What does this do to the concept of self if there is a you creating thoughts and another you that doesn't want to experience them? If our being shifts from experiencing one set of common thoughts and ideas to another, does that mean something is broken? Or is that a connotation we put when the shift is negative? My brother dealt with his bipolar experience the way many do today. He turned to our scientific materialist medical establishment. For those with mental disorders, this is how the establishment works. Try a prescribed drug and look for positive signs, negative side effects. Maybe try some talk therapy to see if we can identify and work through the trauma. For some, this works. It can turn bipolar into a lifelong sentence of something to deal with and manage. For others, their time runs out and they seek a permanent solution. That was Tom's path. My experience of my brother's death was a very tragic and grief-filled event. To you, dear listener, it is a statistic. I know this because that is how we all live our lives. When tragedy strikes animals, I call it dinner. When it strikes humans at some distance from us, it becomes a thought or something to notice. But the emotion of grief is absent. That is saved for what is close, what is personally loved and cared for. It is saved for when the loss is immediate. This is necessary. It would be too much for any human to bear the grief of billions of people dying. Grief is experienced when that which we are attached to passes on. If we are not attached, the experience of grief is absent. For tragedy, there is only walking through the moment. There is no room for politics and judgments, no room for blame to be cast, no time for questions to be answered. It is raw. It is breaking. My brother's struggles led me to contemplate the nature of hallucinatory phenomena and our relationship to our own inner life. We hear one voice in our head and draw a direct connection from that voice to myself. Our whole being is wrapped up in what that voice tells us to do and what it tells us about ourselves. If that voice tells us that it's a bad day, we believe it and have a bad day. If it tells us things are awesome, we believe that and have a good day. Whatever that voice is, we approach it as though it is me. We have no frame of reference to think otherwise. It is only those who have had more than one voice where the confusion steps in. We find plenty of similar experiences in the Bible. The young prophet Samuel is instructed by Eli to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," when he experienced auditory hallucinations. In fact, many of the prophets experience both auditory and visual hallucinations. The Bible is filled with story after story of people who are experiencing reality outside of our normal consensus reality. It is these events that inspire the Bible's very existence. Jacob's ladder, Moses' burning bush, various angelic sightings, all of these which are what we would call today hallucinations. The phenomena is identical. To the person experiencing the event, it is just as, or more, real than everyday reality. And to others, it is crazy. Not all of these experiences of other realities are positive. To some, these experiences are demonic, scary, and debilitating. This was certainly the case for my brother, but there are plenty of examples of that in the Bible as well. Often they are described as a demonic possession, but not always. One notable example is King Nebuchadnezzar, whose mind and conscious experience was changed to that of a wild animal for 7 years. In all these cases of suffering, though, the end result is relief and a restored relationship with God.